Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Thursday, August 31st of 2023. Let's hop into the video. Hope you guys are having a wonderful week so far. How was that full moon in Pisces for you? I came home. I had gotten a free pizza, so I had a free pizza, and I sat down and watched the Atlanta United game. We lost here, and I watched anime, and that's pretty much was that's pretty much what my evening consisted of. So I just didn't really do a whole lot, but there was this one moment too that I noticed before I hop into this, like things were very, very quiet but loud at the same time. And I tuned into it and I just kind of sat on the couch and I just kind of put my hands like this. And I just sort of had like a Four of Swords kind of moment. I just listened. And like I turned off the TV. I paused the TV, I paused everything. You could sometimes hear things outside, but I just listened to the silence. And the silence was loud. And I even got like the little I don't know what you want to call it, but I started to do the whole like kind of reverberating kind of deal. That's how I know I'm actually getting like deeper into like a meditation. So I just did like a little quick little like few-minute meditation, but I was able to tap into that frequency where I started to like do the whole wobble thing. Yeah, I noticed how interesting it was. And I'm like, you know what? I mean, I know that there's a lot of appliances on and everything like that here, but I wonder if I'm like tuning in to just the sound of this planet and stuff like that, you know. But there's always so much like noise, you know what I'm saying? There's always so much static that's going on. Sometimes it's hard to tap into that frequency. So I think, it's really positive. If you could tap into those frequencies, you can get that little wobble. If you've ever meditated or anything like that and gone to like a deeper meditation, you know what I'm talking about. So I just thought that was interesting. Definitely very full moon in Pisces. But anyways, let's hop into the aspects for today. We are still in that full moon phase, of course. The moon starts off the day at 14 degrees of Pisces. The main thing, of course, that we get today is that it is going to make the opposition to Mercury retrograde. Before it makes that opposition, though, it is going to make the sextile over to Jupiter. Nice aspect, especially since both of these energies are actually pretty positive for the most part. The only thing is that Jupiter's moving slow, like slow, slow, like not even a minute a day slow. Like, that's how slow Jupiter is moving. So if it feels like physically things are not moving forward or expanding, if financial stuff feels weird right now and like slowing down and drying up, it's because Jupiter is moving slow, right? Like super slow. Now granted, we do have some mutual reception here because Jupiter is a traditional ruler of Pisces and the moon is exalted in Taurus, so there's definitely some mutual reception here. Now they're going to sextile at 15 degrees. 1 plus 5 is 6, 6 goes back to Venus. Talking about this as far as like the numbers and the planets. So definitely we are looking to, where can we receive our value more and where can we really start to tap into spirit? You got to remember the moon is in the decking that it rules here. So it's not only that, but yeah, Jupiter in the decan ruled by Mercury, and the moon is about to oppose that. So there's definitely this element here where if we really listen and tap into spirit, we can see the opportunity even when things are kind of slowing down. You don't want to freak out right now, because you can kind of feel that this is coming. Venus is pretty much stopped, right? Uranus just went retrograde. We have a Mercury retrograde. Mars is not in a great position, right? We have, Chiron retrograde, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune. And when Venus stations direct, Jupiter stations retrograde like 13 hours later. So there's definitely this feeling of like, yo, people may take some rash actions despite the fact that Mars is in Libra, but they're going to take the rash actions because they're going to try and find some type of balance. They're going to try and do anything to feel more balanced and more harmonized. when things are certainly imbalanced. Tap into that energy though. This moon is providing this opportunity to help with Jupiter, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Since it's a sextile, so it's a positive aspect, especially since they are a mutual reception, to kind of help us to see where our value is, even when things are slowing down, even when things don't feel like they are expanding. But also, Jupiter is still technically direct. It's still technically not in retrograde, right? So this is about having the vision still. This is about being able to like, all right, what has worked? What do I do? What do I have? And those things that I do have, those tools, those resources, how can I expand upon these areas? How can I tap into spirit, with Pisces here? And how can I feel my way through this? How can I, trust in the guidance of the universe right now, even when things seem slow, and even when things seem like they're on their last little leg, things are on the edge, things definitely seem crazy right now. But it's interesting. Despite the fact that all that is happening, if you look at, hold on, I'm going to stop sharing that, and then I'm going to share another screen. So uh, that despite that, if you come over here and look at the scores, Mercury +9, Sun +4, Venus +3, Jupiter +3, Moon +1, Saturn +1. We have a lot of energies that are positive. They're just in weird points. Like Mercury is retrograde in Virgo, like Venus is retrograde in Leo, and it's pretty much stopped. Jupiter is about to retrograde, and it's pretty much stopped. The moon's in Pisces, of course, so the moon likes to be there. Saturn is retrograde in freaking Pisces, right? Mars, the only planet that is moving fast, the only planet that is really charging forward, is at -10. It's not feeling very powerful. Like Samson got his hair cut off, right? Freaking, this is like taking an arrow to the knee and still having to lead the pack somehow. That's the weird thing about this. This is like you feeling like you have like all this armor and all this power, and then Mars doesn't have any armor right now. Like all the armor is off, his weapon is gone, and he has to actually be diplomatic. Mars has to actually be diplomatic. So he's not in his usual garbs. He's not in his usual setup, right? That's the weird thing about this. And then, of course, you have, the goddess of war, Eris, on top of the North Node here, right? So it's interesting too, how we have that energy with Chiron there as well. So there's definitely like where one planet is sort of like needing some help. There's another planet that can definitely provide some more juice, but at the same time is not necessarily going to be the easiest, right? Mars here at 2 degrees of Libra, where obviously it's in its detriment, but this can allow us to take some time with our actions and not to be super super rash, but we want to be careful to where we don't become too indecisive. You have Eris, though, the goddess of war, on top of the North Node, which is definitely wanting us to find this inner flame and this inner warrior, if you will. But Chiron is there. So we have to overcome weird traumas or things like wounding from our past and not allow these things to fester. This is a time where we have to really, and because it's the goddess war, I'm feeling this is more like an internal thing, right? Like more like an internal thing, not necessarily super external, but more internal. And you gotta remember, Eris has like over 400-year transit around the sun, right? So, I mean, Eris moves very slow around the sun. It's a little bit more of a subtle thing. This is about kind of going within and finding that deeper quality. 2 + 5 is 7. So once again, like I said, this was tapping into that full moon, which was at 7 degrees of Pisces. This definitely takes on a more spiritual and subtle nature. Do you have the capability? You do. Do you have the capability of finding that inner warrior and bringing that out despite everything that's going on around you? This is about being strong within. I'm like envisioning like So I this is this is weird. So like a long time ago, me and one of my good friends, we were going to like write like a novel together, right? And we were both like, because I was a writer and he was kind of very imaginative as well, as was I. So we were going to write this novel together. Never happened. Anyways, it was interesting. So his character was like fire based, and my character was ice based, right? And as far as like our superpowers, right? And I remember there's this one scene for some reason where we were like standing in the middle of a mall, and we were like, I want to say it was, I can't remember if it was him or if it was me, if it was both of us, but one of us was so like angry for some reason that we actually collapsed the entire mall around us. No one was inside the mall. We transported everyone outside of the mall. You know what I mean? So like we did that at least, right? But just so angry that we just was like and the whole mall collapsed around us. It can in many ways feel like that right now. It can feel like the world is collapsing around you, but you have the strength and the resolve to still withstand that crumbling. And I'll go on to say this is it's already happened. Pluto's in Capricorn. You know what I mean? It went into Aquarius and retrograded back into Capricorn. So we are already in the time skip, right? So it already happened. The collapsing has already happened. The shoe has already dropped. We're just finally kind of catching up to the physical representations of that collapse. This is about tapping in and trusting the universe, trusting God, and moving in a way that reflects that faith, you know? So yeah, let me get back to the uh other one. Oh, not that one, this one. So I can actually like, oh wait, did I hold on. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, cool. We are good. Yeah, so you're going to see that Moon make the opposition to Mercury retrograde here at 18 degrees. This is going to be happening around 3:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? 1 plus 8 is 9, so this is a very This is a very Martian degree, right? Very Martian degree. Mars, of course, like I said, debilitated in Libra. This is definitely going to be this moment, especially coming off of the full moon, still within the full moon energy. You know, it's within 10 degrees of the sun still. And this is definitely going to be this moment where it's like we want to even maybe emotionally make some sort of action. But remember, Mercury is retrograde, checking this moon, and Mercury has a little bit more power than the moon right now. So this is about like, hey, look, we don't have all the answers. So let's not make like any decisions based off of emotion right now, because emotions will change, they will move, they will flow, and you still gotta make the opposition to Neptune and make the opposition to Mars once you reach Aries. So let's not necessarily make like any rash decisions right now. We want to be a little bit more strategic about this, right? Especially since the fact that the moon will conjunct Neptune tomorrow and will come on and will also oppose Pallas Athena. So this moon is definitely providing some nice clarity in this full moon phase, and it's definitely giving us opportunity to really tap into spirit, right? Especially since the veil is a lot thinner. Whenever the moon goes into Pisces, the veil is thinner. When you get a full moon in Pisces, it's super thin, probably the thinnest it usually is all year, right? So that's the thing about this. Don't jump the gun right now. Strategize, and like I said, don't be indecisive. I think this is still about making a decision. So because we could break this 18 down. 1 is the sun, 8 is Saturn, right? So this is definitely about making a decision that is based in our heart, you know, based in our creativity and our love and the way that we shine in this world. And what's there? We have Venus and Juno, and Black Moon Lilith was just now retrograded back into Leo, and it's about to conjunct the spot that Venus stationed retrograde at. So, yeah, there could even be some fear with trusting our heart, because maybe we felt like we trusted our heart in the past and we got hurt, we got wounded, We got impaled, we got backstabbed, we got cheated. Don't allow the past to dictate your now and to dictate your future. Don't allow it to come in and rob you of all of the beautiful things that are right now, all of the beautiful things that you have accumulated, all of the beautiful, just the gratitude for this moment, what you have already law attracted into your life, all of the abundance that is here right now. Don't allow it to come in and rob you of that. So it's a powerful time of tapping into spirit and listening to spirit and heeding the messages from spirit. At the same time, we don't want to get so caught up emotionally to where we take some sort of action, right? That will lead us down a path where we're just trying to feel any kind of sense of, trying to balance out something extreme. There's a difference between like trying to find balance in your life and peace and trying to just do anything just to feel like to like this extreme level. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't think this is necessarily a great time to just like I don't know, just I mean it could be, maybe if you have like a job that you don't like, maybe just to up and walk out, but you got to have a goal, you have to have a plan. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily a good job to just like, you know, walk out of an apartment or walk out of a lease right now. You got to have a plan. You know what I'm saying? So that's what this comes down to. It's like maybe you have made the decision to leave certain situations behind, but do you want to just rashly leave without having any type of plan or any type of strategy? You know what I'm saying? This is still a moment where we have to walk by faith, absolutely, but we don't necessarily want to just dip without having any type of strategy, any type of plan. We don't want to do that. All right. Come the end of the day, that moon is going to make the sextile over to Uranus, and it will conjunct Neptune probably overnight going into Friday, but that will happen at 23 degrees. And what's interesting about this one, of course, 2, which is the moon, 3, which is Jupiter, comes together to a 5, which nets to a mercurial kind of energy. So everything's coming back to this Mercury retrograde once again. And the sextile here, Uranus, which is now offline, right? In the moon here, trying to connect the dots, if you will, but Uranus is like offline. This is like the internet's off and you're having to do things by candlelight. You know what I'm saying? And maybe it can kind of feel that way. The moon here in the decan ruled by Pluto. Pluto's over here in Capricorn, and the decan ruled by Mercury. So once again, a lot of things are coming back to this Mercury retrograde and how important this retrograde really is. I think it's going to be one of the most important retrogrades of the year. I mean, yeah, we do have, and Mercury retrograde, like I said, it doesn't have to be super difficult. It's the one that most people focus on, right? It's the one that most people focus on, but it doesn't have to be that difficult, especially that it is in a sign that it rules. The last one they have, of course, was Taurus. We're going to have all Earth retrogrades this year. And now the Sun and Mercury are coming within 10 degrees. This is definitely a very hermetic time. And this is definitely a time where we want to, definitely be in the flow of the universe, but at the same time, still have some sort of strategy moving forward. We don't want to just be completely in the dark or lost and not have any sense of direction, right? This is not a time where you just walk out into a busy 10-lane highway and be like, I trust God that these cars aren't going to hit me. You're probably going to get hit by a car. You're probably going to get hit by an 18-wheeler, right? You can't just, it's not that kind of a faith. You don't want to do anything stupid. You know what I'm saying? That's not what this comes down to. But especially if it's something that you are striving for, something that you really want, a vibration that you're wanting to come more into, really just focus on that. I think the way that you get through these times is learn how to laugh, learn how to smile, and hone in on the things that are working for you and to show gratitude for those things and work on your personal vibration. The world is crazy. I think it's good to be aware of what's happening in the external world, but not so much to the point where it starts to negatively impact your inner world. This is a time of working on the inner world, in the inner universe, right? Because you are a universe. You are an entire collective of cells and organisms and atoms and DNA that is ancient too. So you are a universe onto yourself. This is a time about focusing on that because we are all birthing new realities and new versions of ourselves. Think back to who you were even just a year ago. You are probably way different than where you were. Like some things probably haven't changed, right? So like maybe you still like, maybe you still like the same kind of music, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you still like the same sports teams, maybe you still have some of the like as far as like your hobbies, things that you like. But like mentality wise, you know, and just the connection to the world, the connection to yourself, all these different things, those things have probably changed dramatically over the last years, most certainly over the last 2 to 3 years. This has allowed us, I would say, since the first time since 2012, because 2012 was like this awakening period for a lot of people. But like the last several years, so especially like 2022, which is 10 years later from that, allowed a lot of people to reawaken again, if you will. I feel like that's really what this time comes down to. We are going through another awakening period. Like you have like this, and things happen in periods. I mean, you can have awakening periods, of course, in between. But as far as like just a massive event where a lot of people are waking up, there's another one happening right now. And I think that's why things can feel uncomfortable because people are really starting to really peel back the curtains and like peer behind the veil and see the beings or the people or the days that are working on this matrix in society from behind the curtain and trying to hide things from you and shit. But then you realize that they're in this shit just like you are. Do we really need to be falling into those traps again? You know what I'm saying? To beware of the traps. Beware of the emotional traps, the traps that try and pull on your heartstrings to get you and sway you into a particular direction. This is a time of having discernment, emotional discernment, and to realize when you come within yourself, you go within yourself, and that is the important message here. Going within yourself, trusting God, and to know that you have all the answers within you. Things are going to come out. You may not necessarily be consciously aware of all the answers right now. A lot of it can be unconscious, a lot of it can be subconscious. But the more that you tap, especially into the subconscious, then you can start to bring those into your conscious awareness. We all do things unconsciously, right? It's the subconscious that we're wanting to tap into. And it's the subconscious that they don't want you to tap into because we start to tap into your subconscious and you start to rewire the way that you think and the way that you emotionally respond to things. Because that's what you can do. Like we can't necessarily control everything that's going on out here, but we can control the way that we respond and the way that we react to things. So once you recognize those patterns, but you have to go into your subconscious. But once you recognize those patterns, then you can really start to elevate and shift your vibration and frequency to something that is, I want to say, greater, higher, if you will, more resonant with the God frequency, if you will, and tap into that flow. The moon's in Pisces, so everything that I'm saying is going to be kind of flowy and fluffy and spiritual and mystical and stuff like that. But that's kind of the astrology. It's admittedly pretty difficult astrology. That's why That's why there's a lot of weird things right now. That's why people are freaking out and stuff like that. But that's also why you probably see an upkick of like comedy reels and everything like that, because people are just trying to do everything they can to get by and smile through this and laugh through this, because it's hard out here in these streets. It's hard out here in these spiritual streets. But we will make it through this, because we already have made it through this. So let's get into the cards. Ooh, ooh, cards. Okay. All right. I felt that. They didn't want to. There we go. That's better. Let's see what we got. We have the card of maturity. I want to say this is the Queen of Pentacles in this deck. I can't quite remember, but we do have the card of maturity. It's a beautiful card. I love all of the colors and everything. She seems calm. She's relaxed. But it's interesting too. You see all of the world around her. You see how it's kind of like gray and dark and dungy. But she herself is bright and cheery and colorful. You know, this is the energy that we need to bring in. This is about having an emotional maturity, a mental maturity, a spiritual maturity, to even when things seem gloomy around us, we know our own worth, we know our own value, what we bring to the table, and we focus on that. We don't focus on the world around us. We focus on our vibration. We focus on what we bring to the table. That's really what this comes down to. We do have the moon card in reverse, also known as past lives, in this deck. So yeah, this is like I've said, you don't want to have some sort of emotional like reaction to something, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to just like, oh, I gotta do something to feel better. I just gotta do something to feel better. Just slow it down, relax, chill out. And with all past lives things in reverse, you definitely don't want to get just so focused on the past, maybe a past version of yourself in this life, or, just several lifetimes back, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to get super caught up and all that stuff. Yeah, but this person did this thing to me, or this group of people did this to my group of people. Like this, we're moving forward. Let's move forward. Let's decide to move forward. Yes, atrocities and things have happened in the past. Humans have been dicks and assholes and bitches to each other for the entirety of our existence. Let's decide to move forward. We had the card of change. It was in reverse. This is the Wheel of Fortune. It's in reverse, though, which means not change, unchanging, unmoving, stuck in the past, going around in circles, but not actually moving forward. Going around in circles, but not moving forward. Doing this instead of doing this. Are you doing this? Are you just going around in one circle? Is it one dimensional? You know what I'm saying? Doing the same thing, expecting a different results? How about going up the ladder, though, and doing this instead? Because, yeah, you still are going in circles per se, but you are moving up still. And then what if it became wider, that circle? What if you started going outside of your comfort zone, just bit by bit by bit? And then you create this sort of, funnel, if you will, and you get into this vortex and this vibration. And then you start to really allow to attract into your life things as your influence, as your vibration grows, as your beacon grows, as your light grows. Then you can really start to tap into the incredible opulence and fortune that is within us and all around us. We can start to really affect the world in some positive ways. You can also, of course, do the downward spiral and kind of get caught up in a vibration in a mixture of, like, if you're caught in this vortex, if you will, of, I'm just seeing someone like standing and there's like a literally like a vortex going around them, and all they can see is failure there, disappointment there, failed relationship there, you know, you fucked up there, you're not good looking. Like, and that's all that they see. 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 Right. And then you can get trapped in a vortex of negativity as well. So just as you can get trapped in a vortex of positivity, trapped, if you will. But yeah, yeah, so we got to experience both sides of it, right? But it's about not getting super trapped in that negative downward spiral too. So some people are there too. Some people literally got the cone on their head like a dog or something like that because they keep biting themselves and shit instead of allowing themselves to heal. But no one necessarily likes to have a cone on their head. You know what I'm saying? But you can actually turn that vortex off. You can just switch it off. I had a dream, and I'm going to be done with this video after this, but I had a dream when I was younger. I remember I used to have dreams about tornadoes a lot. I still occasionally have dreams about tornadoes. They used to be like very scary. I remember one particular dream I had where there was like a tornado outside of my house, right? And it wasn't really like destroying a whole lot of stuff. It was like sucking up things in the house. Like my whole family was in like swirling around the tornado and shit too. And I actually went into the tornado, like went in at the bottom of the tornado, went up, right? Went up to the top of the tornado, and there was like a control panel. Kid you not, there was a control panel at the top of the tornado. And I was like, huh. And I just pressed the off button, and it dissipated, and everything fell. And then, my family was like, "Oh, thank you, Jamal. We appreciate that." But you can do that. You can simply just click, turn it off. Oh, but how can I do it? I've gone through this repetition so many times. It's like, well, Mercury retrograde is your friend here. Mercury retrograde is your friend to help you to recalibrate those mental loops that you have going on, which when you have those mental loops, it can cause like a habits and cause daily habits and stuff like that. This is a time for you can tap into that, and you can get out of that loop, and then you can create like a more positive vortex. And it's funny too, I talked about the tornadoes. There were tornadoes in my dreams last night. There was like 4 or 5 of them I saw in the distance, and I was like holding on to like a sink, trying to like weather the storm because I was trying to go home, right, to try to meet up with my wife at home, but I was like out somewhere and I waited too long. So I had to like shelter where I was and wait for the tornadoes to pass and stuff. I don't even know if they really came close to where I was, but in the distance, there was like 4 or 5 tornadoes. I think that was interesting too. How that pops up in the dream, and then I get the card of, and this does look like a whirlwind, doesn't it? Right? This does look like a whirlwind. But sometimes we can be so focused on the exterior of this. You know what I'm saying? We can be so focused on the exterior, but if you're the one standing in the middle and you're so focused on what's going on the outside of it, and worrying about this thing is passing and this thing's passing, and you're just getting reminders and reminders and reminders of this thing. Remember, this was upside down, this was changed, so you're stuck. It's about realizing that you are the control panel, that you you can just switch it, tap into a different vibration. And even though it may feel awkward, it may feel weird at first, the more that you do it and you remain consistent at that, let me enunciate my words, you will start to see true positive and impactful change in your life. That is going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you'd like a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. I forgot to bring this card out. Faraway places, get ready for new horizons. I don't think this is necessarily meaning travel, but I think this just means that we are moving into a new world and we are birthing a new age, if it's not already here. So I just remembered to pull that because I almost forgot again. But yeah, get ready for new horizons. That's why things feel weird. That's why things are feeling a little uncomfortable because we're all coming into a new reality. Take a deep breath, drink some water, chill out, relax, smile, dance, laugh. We're going to get through this. Anyways, y'all take care. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all on Friday's astrology forecast. Peace.